Words from the Cross. Welcome to 2-Minute Transformation. Jesus endured unspeakable anguish to accomplish what we could not do for ourselves. We've all stood guilty before God, and the penalty is exactly what Jesus paid. It's why he chose to die. His words and actions during those grueling 6 hours matter to you and I in profound ways. What do his words from the cross tell us? What does his sacrificial death teach us about how we ought to live? Well, let's begin with the first statement as the cross is dropped into the ground. Luke 23:34 records, "Then Jesus said, 'Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do.'" Hanging literally between God's wrath and human depravity, Jesus feels both the weight of his own body and the burden, which is the totality of man's sin that's been placed upon him. From the cross, he can hear the mocking crowd that's gathered to spit in the face of God's mercy. At his feet, which have been nailed one over the other to the rough timber, Roman guards make sure all 3 men crucified on this day suffer beyond comprehension. The criminals hanging on either side have turned their spews of hatred and hostility from their executioners and now join the crowd in reviling the Christ. Perhaps any other man would have shouted obscenities and expletives back at the hostile crowd. Instead, Jesus lifts his bleeding head to heaven and teaches us to forgive. During his famous Sermon on the Mount, Jesus told the multitude that we must be forgiving to be forgiven. And now, beaten, bleeding, and dying, Jesus prays. He prays not for vengeance, but for mercy on those who have taken such delight in his demise. He prays that we all might be forgiven, so we can be transformed.